we're a little late to the party, but everyone for the past few days have been talking about Lil Boat on the fucking Complex show getting his ass torn by fucking Joe Budden by Vice President Joe Biden. We talked about this and we were like, okay, whose side are we on in this one? I think it's pretty open and shut. Fucking Biden, I'm gonna keep saying that. Fucking Budden came off like the biggest fucking curmudgeon.
Yeah.
Stick in the mud. Party pooper.
As I'm watching that video, like, I've never before been like, dude, leave him alone, man. Well, yeah, you know, like, I reviewed him twice, and I've always been like, oh my god, I fucking don't like this guy's lyrics, like, it just sounds like da-da-da, but it's just like, you know, there is still a certain humanity to everybody, and, you know, like, if I ever saw him in real life, it's not like I'd be like, yo, I fucking hate your songs! You know, so like, you know, when I watch an interview, like I go into it neutral. I'm like, you don't know how they are. You don't know, like I said, we were talking about earlier. You don't know how someone is in real life versus how they are in their music. You know what I mean? The person in their song is a different person than how they are in their music. So I'm just looking at them like, all right, you know, how's this going to be handled? It's going to be interesting. And I'm thinking that I'm going to be on Joe Budden's side because it's like, yeah, he's going to be, you know, not afraid to tell him about the realities of the industry and stuff like that. Maybe there's a way he could have done that.
Yeah, it's absolutely how it was delivered.
But it's not the way that he did that really made it work, you know? Like, maybe if he was like when he had that point about, like, you don't know if you're in a 360 deal or not. Like, that's a pretty big fucking deal.
That is the only point of the interview that I thought Budden had a legit point. Like, that is something you really do need to know. And how fucking Lil Yachty just kind of shrugged it off in that clip, I was like, no, dude. You fucking can't be that, you know, cavalier, nonchalant about not knowing if the fucking label has their hand in your pocket or not.
But the thing is, he's probably going to because he has already identified Joe Budden as someone who's just a hater. So anything he's going to be saying is just going to be saying something to try to get me down. So I'm specifically not going to think about it now. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I kind of worry about. Like, yeah, just because it's someone who's sort of like, you know, a hothead saying it to you, that doesn't mean you shouldn't, like, make a few calls to your lawyers. You know what I mean?
Since then, he did come out and say that he wasn't. It is one of those things, though, he didn't know.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing.
No, dude, at the very least, you just gotta fucking sit him aside, maybe afterwards, and just be like, dude, you need to read what the fuck you're signing. You're way too young to be fucking up your whole career like that.
Dude, that's the thing that I kind of felt like with Designer. Remember when I did that review?
Yeah.
A couple of months ago, and I was like, I'm more worried. Like, he got way too famous way too quickly.
Yeah.
Usually, you have to make more than 3 fucking songs. You know what I mean?
That fucking paperwork was on a conveyor belt, just whizzing by him, and he was just stamping his name on all of them.
Oh, come on, you don't want to deal with all this Designer. Let's get to the part where you're with the big booty bitches.
You're too busy. It's all about the money, am I right?
Get yourself a car with some spinning rims.
He was hypnotized by the spinning rims.
Don't just sign here. Don't even worry about it. We have your best interest at heart.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm telling you, learn from your boy MC Hammer.
Really, seriously, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. VH1 made a made-for-TV movie about it. You don't even need to read up on it. Just
Hammer,
watch that fucking documentary.
He wasn't a one-hit wonder. He had multiple hits. He was big for years. There was a time where if you're talking about hip-hop, you knew who MC Hammer was. He was the name. You know what I mean? All these commercials whenever they wanted to have an archetype of what hip hop was, they had what's his name? Barney Rubble.
Barney Rubble in the fucking shiny genie pants and the box cut.
You know,
doing the uh-oh across the screen.
Doing the crab dance, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and that's no disrespect, but that's the reality. Like, when people talk about, like, oh man, you know what the greatest albums from the 90s was? No one's bringing up Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em.
No, it doesn't come even close.
You know, so it's just like, dude, just watch what you're doing and watch the people that are around you, because people could be fucking you over. However, though, when it comes to the other stuff in that interview, Budden was kind of being just like, he was kind of being an asshole. Like,
oh, absolutely.
It was just unnecessary. It was just like, why are you acting like that? Like, literally, as someone, like I said, as someone who's reviewed Lil Yachty, and it's just like, these fucking songs. Watching that thing, I was just going like, dude, calm down. Like, what did he do to you? But I think what got to him, though, was the little slick thing Lil Yachty said where he was like, oh, how do you get invited to the gala, Met Gala or whatever? And he looks at Joe Budden like sort of slick. He's just like, well, you got to be somebody,
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, ooh.
Well, seriously, though, is fucking Joe Budden, Mr. I got 2 rocks in my hands chasing a fucking sedan down the street, really gonna be invited to the Met Gala in 2017? Fuck no. Doesn't matter how many diss tracks he records to Drake. He ain't relevant.
Going back to MC Hammer, it's just like, he was a mediocre rapper. That's just the reality of the situation. Like I said, No one's going to be like, who's my favorite rapper? MC Hammer. Like, no one has a top 5 list with MC Hammer in it. That's just not the reality.
MC Hammer is not on anybody's hip-hop Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, but, he knew how to make those hooks, though.
Mm-hmm.
Too legit to quit. Hey, yeah.
She was catchy as fuck.
Yeah, even the pumps and a bump. That was actually like if you don't look at the video, just don't pay attention to the. Just don't look at it because.
Don't look at it. Other things I wanted to touch on that I don't necessarily have all that much on. How Budden suddenly decided to take issue with, but then didn't talk anything else about the album cover.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he's like, oh, so you got the album cover with 2 gay people kissing, huh? That was your idea. That wasn't implanted by the industry. It's just like, I mean, what does it matter? Like,
and really, in the rap industry, who would be saying, well, what your album cover needs? A same-sex couple kissing, because that's what sells in hip hop. It's proven.
No, I'll put it to you like this. It's like, well, if he would have had a couple of big booty bitches on the album cover, would he have said, oh, I bet the label made you do that? No.
Is Budden ticked off by that in particular? Because he just mentioned that in passing, and they didn't really go back to it, which I thought was weird. They just kind of touched on it and left. And, like, he didn't take issue with the albino on the cover, or I think it was someone with vitiligo.
Yeah, and there was, like, a big woman on the cover as well.
Right, and they're all just, like, in movie theater seats.
Yeah.
And when it's posed to Lil Yachty, he just basically says, like, yeah, I mean, that's, like, all walks of life on a cover, like, just, like, living together.
Because, like, that would be the least of my concerns.
Yeah, really, like, you started with that. You fucking led with the cover.
It's like, because here's Lil Yachty, and he looks weird. And if he's saying that he's an outcast in the hip-hop industry, right? Like, then you get groups of people who look like outcasts on the album cover. That makes sense to me. Like, I'm not thinking a second thought to that. I'm not going like, oh, but who really put you up to this? Who really put you up to this, Lil Yachty? No, it just kind of seems like, okay, yeah, I can get that. No, I'm more concerned about, where's your money going to, Lil Yachty? Are you really getting the best you can out of this deal, Lil Yachty? Are the people on this label, is the person who's above you, are they making sure that you're putting forth the best music that you can? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'd be more concerned with, not whether or not someone's kissing on the fucking album cover.
When Yachty says, I'm an outcast in the hip-hop, and Budden's like, you think you're an outcast, he's kind of the norm now.
Yeah, that is true as well.
Fucking Lil Uzi Vert would be considered an outcast. Fucking Young Thug, absolutely. And these are like the big fuck names. They don't all look like Kendrick.
I see if he's going for that, like, I can get that, but yeah, he's not. It's not like anyone's been trying to hold him back. It's not like anyone's been like, your red hair, I don't think that's gonna work. Like,
yeah.
Unless, because he's never even mentioned that in his music, like, oh, they said they weren't gonna like me because of my red hair, but I did it anyway. It seems like he's actually doing fine. You know what I mean? It seems like he's receiving no opposition. So what is he really talking about?
I was unsure as to why Budden seemed like he thought that competition and rivalry was, like, absolutely mandatory in hip-hop. Like, I get, like, we've talked before about how, like, it's a big thing of, like, saying you're the best and, acting like, you're better than everyone else. Mm-hmm. We've seen what that does. Like, we see how violent, like we were just talking earlier about fucking MC Hammer and fucking Search. Like, that shit gets dangerous. What's wrong with a rapper being like, no, why would I need that? What's wrong with all of us just, like, working together? Why do we need to fucking bring in throwing shade and dissing people on tracks? Like, what's the point if, we're just having fun? And that was his whole thing. Mm-hmm. Just having fun, which I still don't understand what the fuck is wrong with having fun.
I think Joe Budden worries, well, not worries, but what he's mostly concerned with is the idea of someone being fake, right? I think Joe Budden doesn't like the idea that this whole album cover, this is just me assuming, like, oh, this album cover that you're saying you came up with, no, that was someone who thinks that the Outcast or whatever look needs to be someone who has like gay people kissing on the cover because that's revolutionary, and a fat chick on the cover because that's revolution. You know what I mean? Not like Lil Yachty was like, you know what, I want to really express my sound, I want to do this. No, he's saying it stinks of a PR department saying, well, gay people are in now, so what we're gonna do is put gay people on the cover. You know what I mean?
I get like, that, yeah.
Part of it, I think, is that. And then another part of it was the part where he said, I'm happy all the time. That was a big thing that Joe Budden took issue with.
He brought that up throughout the whole fucking interview.
Yeah, and he said, like, you're not happy all the time. You're lying.
But you happy, though. But you happy all the time, though. Like,
yeah.
I'll tell you my favorite part of that interview, only because I was fucking cheering for Yachty, when he just goes,
my nigga, chill.
That fucking got me, just looking straight at Budden. Chill. Like, what the fuck? Why are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, for real, leave him alone. I was pulling a fucking Chris Crocker, leave Yachty alone.
He felt that was a PR trained answer, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, say that you're having a great time because your brand is that you're carefree, right? Your brand is that you're cool-headed and you don't really care. But it's like, you could just as easily flip that on Joe Budden. Hey, you've done a couple of diss songs to Drake, so what if your PR guy was like, hey, you need to be angry? Like, maybe if it seemed too fake, as in, like, if he was just, like, standing there just like, hey, guys, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, so I'm going to say that I'm happy. But it's like, no, it kind of seemed like that was, the way he felt. But, okay, fine. If you're going to say, I felt that he was being fake.
He was just fucking nervously drinking for like half of the interview. You don't have to be all smiles to be happy. You're just content.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't mean you're fucking, I don't know, what's the fucking thing you do when you're happy?
He wasn't on that stage doing fucking backflips.
Yeah, he's not whistling, singing a happy tune. Yeah, it's like, there are different stages of being happy. It's just, in general, I don't feel like I need to, like, hey, I mean, yeah, they were saying, like, he actually was raised in a place that wasn't actually that bad, but still, at the same time, there's shit you have to deal with when you grow up. When you're a teenager, just hormones in general, is a bitch. And then to be like, wow, I'm really rich now. I just don't have to worry about problems anymore.
It's high school, fitting in, fashion. Are your parents abusing you for a YouTube channel? There's a lot to worry about.